Good afternoon. Welcome to the November 9th, 2023 inaugural meeting of the Sunshine Coast Regional District Board. I would like to call the meeting to order at 1:30 p.m. and acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is within the territory of the Shishal and Squamish First Nation. Our first order of business will be election of the chair. The procedure for election of the chair is set out by the Board Procedures Bylaw. I will call for nominations 3 times. At the close of nominations, if more than one candidate has been nominated, each will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board in favor of their candidacy. I will then hand out blank ballots on which you will write the name of the candidate of your choice. We will collect and count the ballots and inform the board if there is a successful candidate. A majority of votes of the members present is required to elect the chair, which means that one of the candidates must receive at least 5 votes to be elected. If no one receives at least 5 votes, the voting is repeated. When the voting is repeated, all names will remain on the ballot unless a nominee withdraws. Are there any questions or requests from the board relating to the process? Seeing none, would the board members like to know how many votes each candidate receives? And if so, would one of the directors like to make a motion now to that effect? Okay, seeing no hands, I will call a first time for nominations for the position of chair for the Sunshine Coast Regional District. Over to you, directors. Are there any nominations? Director Toth.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Director Lee.
Director Lee, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
I will now call for nominations a second time. I will now call for nominations a third and final time. There being no further, oh, do I see a hand? Director Paul?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Silas.
I'm sorry, could you?
Director White?
Director White. Director White, do you accept the nomination?
I'll accept the nomination.
Thank you. So having received 2 nominations, each candidate will now be given 3 minutes to address the board prior to distribution of the ballots. The candidates are Director White and Director Lee. I will just go in the order of nominations. So Director Lee, would you like to address the board?
Three minutes, that's a long time. First off, thanks for nominating me, and I'm pleased to let my name stand as a candidate for board chair. And I do it for multiple reasons. I have time to dedicate to being the board chair. My Area A is in pretty good order, leaving me to put the SCRD board chair as my first priority. My family and community members have indicated support for my decision to allow my name to stand. In fact, last year was a great training for this particular job, and I appreciate it. And I really am looking forward to spending more time with individual board members so as to understand how I can better support our team and improve my own performance. Tell me when 3 minutes are up, huh? I'll just keep talking. 1 minute already? So what surprised me this year, I think, I would share with everybody, and it's how much time it takes to do the job over and above the work at the board table. It was quite surprising to me. And I was surprised as a returning director to note what a big learning curve it is for new directors. Because when you are a new director, you don't know that. You learn it over the first year. I'm sure you guys are all feeling that. Very different from working as an executive in a private company. It's something we all learn. And I was surprised how long it takes to get to know each other. And I note that we've become a high-functioning functioning team who enjoys each other's company, which I think is extremely important for a team. So thanks to all of you. And some board accomplishments that I'm proud of is our current board and our senior management team. I think our boards come together as a team of equals, focused on making the tough decisions that we truly feel are best for our coast. And I feel we've done it as a team. And that's what I always wanted. And our organization itself, excellent response once again this year to the drought situation on the Sunshine Coast. And most recently, working on our board strategic plan and our involvement with our staff and how we actually did it together as a team. And now I would have to mention that I was extremely proud of a recent challenge, which was really truly unprecedented. And we pulled together as a team, we made the decision, we stand by what we did. And the team has stayed together as a really well-functioning team with everybody's insights and guidance. Appreciate it. So that's my time. Thank you.
Director White, would you like to address the board?
Thank you. First, I'd like to express my sincere and utmost appreciation for Len's first year as chair. I think he's absolutely right that that team building has gone really well, and I think that transition has been led very smoothly by Len. And I also feel that all community leaders, we're all community leaders, all equal directors, and we should all have equal consideration for what we individually offer. There's a lot of great leaders here at this table, and I think we can balance our leadership out over this 4-year term. We're all from different parts of the coast. We all have different responsibilities we're balancing. And I've recognized over many years of being on this board, alternate or interacting with the board, that electoral area directors, all directors, we all have very significant pressures and responsibilities, and they can be just as stressful and time-consuming as being a small-town mayor, which I've had the experience of doing in the last year. What I want to offer this board and our communities is an absolute lifelong commitment to the region as a whole. I've got that big, I feel I have developed that big picture perspective of knowing all our communities over all the time I've been on the coast, and my 9 years of experience of being a board chair for the entire Sunshine Coast on the school board. I also have 1 year of experience of being a mayor, and I've got a strong understanding of the differences between being a board chair and a mayor. I actually prefer the direct accountability to each and every director that a board chair calls for. I think it's a better system than the mayoral system, personally. What I offer as a board chair is not only that love of the entire coast, but an in-depth experience in public sector leadership, strategic plan implementation, which is particularly important this year. That's why I'm really interested in offering to take on this role this year, and governance. And I believe our organization needs to change to meet significant challenges, and that our board is embracing that change in our strategic plan and the work we've been doing this past year. And I hope to keep that momentum going. And to do that, we need to share leadership and to tap into all of our unique skills to fulfill our collective potential as a team. And that skill set that I'm offering, I've mentioned, and I've also got extensive experience in advocacy, and I want to work with all directors in electoral area work, in helping electoral areas achieve advocacy for your specific regions, and also with the Sechelt Nation and District of Sechelt, and getting alignment on our regional advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So I will now hand out ballots, and we will conduct an election by secret ballot. So we do have a result. Based on the results of the vote taken, I declare Director Lee elected as Chair of the Sunshine Coast Regional District. I will now pass the meeting over to the newly elected Chair to conduct the election of the Vice Chair. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. And I have a script here for the election of the Vice Chair. The election of the Vice Chair will follow the same procedure as the election of the Chair. I will call for nominations 3 times. If only one candidate is nominated, that candidate will be declared elected by acclamation. If an election by voting is required, the corporate officer will hand out blank ballots on which you'll write the name of the candidate of your choice. Ballots will be collected and counted, and the corporate officer will inform the board if there is a successful candidate. I'll now call a first time for nominations for the position of Vice Chair for the Sunshine Coast Regional District. Director White.
I nominate Director Toth.
Director Toth, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Thank you. I will now call for nominations for a second time. Seeing no hands, I will now call for nominations for a third time. Okay. Seeing. There being no further nominations, I declare Director Toth elected as Vice Chair of the Sunshine Coast Regional District by acclamation. Congratulations. That's cool. Does anybody want to make a big speech about being nominated? Thank you speech? Yes, let's just take 5 minutes to fill up our coffee cups and rearrange the deck chairs here, and then we'll resume. Thank you. Welcome back to the regular board meeting of November 9th, 2023. And the first order of business is the adoption of our amended agenda. So we have an amended agenda before us. Are there any additions to the agenda? Any more additions to the agenda? No, hearing none. May I have a motion to, yes. I have a motion and I have a seconder. All those in favor? Thank you. We then will move on to the regular board meeting minutes of October 26, 2023. Are there any omissions or errors within the minutes? Hearing none. May I have a motion to adopt the minutes as presented? Director Stanford, seconded. Director McMahon, all those in favor? Thank you. We have is there any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business? No? Hearing none, we'll move on. We have no presentations and delegations, but we do have reports. And we have a committee of the whole recommendations number 1 to 6 of October 26th, which is Annex B, pages 15 to 17. And I will just get down to there. Before we adopt the recommendation in a block, would any directors like to pull any of the recommendations for separate consideration? Hearing none. May I have a motion to adopt? Yes, I have. Motion made by Director Toss, seconded by Director McMahon. Any further discussion? No? I'll hold the vote. All in favor? That passes. Thank you. Okay, we're now on to item number 4, which is Samantha Bauer, its communications, and it's Samantha Bauer, Human Resources Advisor, Training Opportunities, City of Kamloops, dated October 27, 2023, regarding invitation to IDEA Conference in Kamloops on November 27th and 28th. It's Annex C, and it's page 18. There we go. Whoops. Is there any discussion on this? Yes, Director McMahon, please.
Yes, I looked up this conference because I was intrigued by the idea of a conference for small and rural communities. So I will be interested if they hold it again in future. In the meantime, I understand that one member of staff from the SCRD is going to this conference. So I hope to hear back from them on how it went and whether it was a valuable experience. Thank you.
Yes, I understand Senior Manager Jerry Parker will be attending this. Do I have that correct, CAO, Acting CAO, Mr. Hall? Yes, okay. So he'll come back and give us a report on it, and we can then consider what we do for next year. Sound okay to everybody? Okay. Cool. Old guys say that. So we have no motions, but we do have bylaws. And that's item number 5. And it's Sunshine Coast Regional District Board Procedures Amendment Bylaw number 717.3 of 2023, Annex D, page 19. And it's voting all directors 1 vote each. Can I have a motion to adopt that bylaw? Yes, Director Toth, seconded by Director McMahon. Any discussions? Yes, Director Bax.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I received some questioning about this bylaw by some of my community members, but I explained it to them that if you look at section 2B, number 5, I highlighted the areas that that the change in the bylaw process is it's used for those bylaws that are not subject to public hearing, and that it's a unanimous decision. So they were worried that this particular procedural amendment would make things less transparent than they actually are. But I assured them that that's not the case, and I think that's something that we have to communicate. Be ready to communicate this particular section of the amendment, so that people don't get the idea that we're rushing things through. That's all.
Thank you, Director Bax. Good point. Is there any further discussions? And I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. We now will move to item number 6, which is page 20. And it's Sunshine Coast Regional District zoning bylaw number 722 of 2029, Annex E, pages 20 to 169. And it's electoral director areas. Electoral area directors, 1 vote each. And can I have a motion for third reading? Director McMahon, can I have a seconder? Director Gavious, any further discussions? All those in favor? Any opposed? No, that passes. Okay, we're now on item number 7. Sorry, oh, I gotta go one more here. Sorry, thank you. Can I have a motion to adopt by Sunshine Coast Regional District zoning bylaw number 722, 2029, revision bylaw number 761, 2023, motion made by Director McMahon, seconded by Director Gabius. Any further discussions? No? All those in favor? Thank you. That's now adopted. So we are now on item number 7, which is Gibson's West House Sound Fire Protection Service Amendment bylaw number 1027.9 of 2023, Annex F, 170 to 175. And I believe we're going to get, I got to get down there. Page 170 is way down here. It's a staff report, I believe. It's Corporate Officer Reed.
Thank you, Chair. So the SCRD has been requested to extend the boundary for the Gibsons and District Fire Protection Service Area in order to add 1 new property to the service. Requests to amend a service boundary to either add or remove parcels may be addressed through a petition process. Attachment A of this report sets out the high-level steps involved in that process. Sufficient petition has been received from the property owner, and as a result, we are requesting 3 readings of the bylaw today. Should those readings pass, we will then seek written consent from the area directors in E and F, as well as the town of Gibsons, as they are a member of this service, before we bring the bylaw back for consideration of final adoption. And I will mention that both the Fire Commission as well as SCRD Finance have reviewed this and have done a feasibility. And so it's before you now for your consideration for readings.
Thank you very much. Director McMahon, please.
Yes, I believe that this could almost be characterized as the correction of an oversight from a previous boundary drawing where the property owners actually thought they were in the fire service and then discovered they were outside the fire service by one property. So I think this is very routine, and I am happy. Am I moving anything at this point, or are we just going to the bylaw?
Recommendations on page 170.
Right, recommendation on page 170, I would happily move that, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Director Toth. Oh, do I have a seconder? Yes, okay, yes, thank you. Director Samford has seconded that, so we can move on to the discussion. So Director Toth, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just seeking clarity here because it shows voting all directors, and I'm wondering if that should be EF and Gibson's instead. Thanks.
Corporate officer?
This would be a corporate vote, all directors to amend the service.
Thank you. Director Bax?
I heard that the fire commissioner was asked for a report, and that all came back clear. There's no worries from the fire service over this change? Okay, good. Fine, thanks.
The answer was no by the corporate officer. Thank you. Any further discussions? I shall call the vote then. All those in favor? Any opposed? No? That passes. So now we will move into the reading of that. So I will need a motion for first reading of Gibson's West Howe Sound Fire Protection Service Amendment Bylaw Number 1027.9 of 2023. Can I have a motion? Yes, Director McMahon, Director Stamford second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. I'll now call for second reading, motion for second reading of Gibson's West Howe Sound Fire Protection Service Amendment Bylaw Number 1027.9 of 2023. A motion made by Director McMahon, seconded by Director Stamford. Any discussion? No? I shall call the question. Was there further discussion? Sorry.
Sorry, just for clarity, can we now do all three readings in one motion now? I thought we just passed that, but
I don't think we can do that until next meeting.
next meeting?
Doesn't matter who first or.
It doesn't, I'm just curious.
I know, it could be a good opportunity.
We could do it now, once it's adopted.
I could have done it now because it's a board meeting? No? Oh, well, I'm already down it. Yeah. Okay. I'll call a motion for second reading of Gibson's West Howe Sound Fire Protection Service Amendment Bylaw Number. I did that already. I was going to call for the vote. Okay. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. This is third reading of Gibson's West Howe Sound Fire Protection Service Amendment Bylaw Number 1027.9, 2023. Yes, Director Inkster? Oh, motion for third reading. Thank you. Seconder? Director Stamford? Any further discussion? No? All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Thank you. Hopefully, we'll just have to do this for big money ones after this. Do it all at once. Directors' reports. Wow. I shall just start from the end. Director Bax, please. And before we go, I would like to remind everybody, directors' reports are for board business that we've undertaken between meetings. Right. So that's what we need to report on.
Board business.
Everybody okay on that? Okay, thank you.
All right, well, that makes it a little smaller. I'm going to have to strike some things from this report. But so I did attend the Thriving Communities work group meeting on October 30th, led by Dr. Chris Hergesheimer. It was a very interesting group of non-governmental organizations, social services, et cetera. And we get together on a monthly basis to try to find out where our overlaps are with the different NGOs and local government, and to see what we can do about making everybody's job a little bit easier. We talked about a central searchable information bank that is going to be worked on. I found that a really informative meeting. I will endeavor to bring a report back from next month's meeting. I did attend the Elders Craft Fair at the Seychelles Nation Hall, and that was not board business. But I attended, 2 days later, I attended the Joint Child Care Committee meeting. There was Director White showed up as well in his role as Mayor of Gibsons. And there's a lot of talk there about creating workforce housing for the childcare sector. We've got a 77% vacancy rate in the employees. It's way understaffed. We need more workforce housing for early childhood educators, and this group is working on that. I did attend the senior planning table as the alternate for Director Gabias, and I've been tasked with the transportation work group for them, and so I will be liaising with them to try to improve the transportation choices for seniors in our community. And I sat in on the WASC committee earlier this week, and that was very interesting. I thought staff's overview of the system for the committee was really insightful, and the committee itself had a lot of great questions, and they're still getting up to speed on the job, but they're a really keen bunch of people, and I really enjoyed being here to see how they do their job. And then this Saturday, I'm going to be representing the Regional District Board and Area D at the Roberts Creek Cenotaph at the Roberts Creek Legion, and laying a wreath in remembrance for the fallen that fought in the wars before us. And hopefully I won't have to think about too many other people that are losing their lives in the wars that are still going on. That's it.
Thank you, Director Bax. Director White, please.
Okay, as far as news with regional relevance in the board role, somewhat relevant is the track and the Connect the Coast initiative did present to our council. I think they've presented here to the Electoral Area Services Committee as well, and that included a request for our partnership from the town and the Green Municipal Fund grant application, which I know they've been trying to seek local government support for that, and we don't make decisions immediately in response to delegations by policy at our meetings, but we're going to be considering that on December the 5th, and I've heard from some councillors at least, are looking very favorably upon on supporting that. So that's an update for the board.
Thank you. We're actually always interested in Gibson's business, by the way. I think that is definitely of interest to our board.
I was just trying to follow your guidelines
Yes,
from
but
the start.
that's entirely different.
That's
We're quite
okay.
interested as a board in
Okay.
what Gibson's is up to. But you're okay?
I mean, I'll update that, you know, unfortunate maybe update or correction to my previous report is as soon as we hired that CFO, we lost him. And that's the job market today is there's so many opportunities. I guess he still had opportunities, I'll say, with other organizations, even 2 weeks into accepting our job, or 2 weeks into even taking the job, and left like that. Came in one morning and said, bye. So fortunately, in our case, we do have a very dedicated retiring CFO, and her retirement, she's agreed that her retirement will just be delayed, which is really unfortunate for her, but fortunate for our community because she's fantastic. So we're still searching.
You'll just have to keep doing that every month, eh, for another couple of years. Thank you very much. Director Inkster, please.
Yeah, I think I mentioned the Festival of Lights to another director. It's on December 2nd in Seychelles, so that's board business. I'm being facetious because I would hope you would reconsider those instructions to us, because municipals don't always, they're not required to go to the regional district meetings and outside meetings like rural directors are, so we won't have a lot to report necessarily, other than board business necessarily. It doesn't happen a lot. We do our business at our table, so we don't have a lot to report. Maybe the vice chair might now, but I won't have a lot to
No,
say.
we
So
traditionally really welcome the reports that relate to each of our municipal partners.
okay,
We're very interested in that. That's
Okay,
very
good.
considered
So that's okay then
board
if I do
business.
that?
Oh, absolutely.
okay, good.
Yes.
December 2nd.
And inviting us to your events is also very important.
You're all invited.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's board business when you're inviting us to something. Director McMahon, please.
Thank you. I've had a very busy couple of weeks with activities that were outside of the SCRD, as well as SCRD activities that weren't meetings, such as wordsmithing our strategic plan. On Monday morning, I participated in the monthly update with the Affordable Housing Society and local government on what's new on the housing front, which is always really good to know what's happening. And we, of course, ended up discussing the new provincial legislation, although, you know, the devil is in the details and we don't know the details yet. So I zoomed in on WASAC. I wish I'd attended in person, because if more than one person talks in the room, you cannot hear anything once the microphone just goes into, yes, rubble. You know, with finishing up the first year of our term, I ended up having a lot of interesting conversations with my fellow directors, and it made me aware that we do need to check in informally with each other, I think, more often, to really understand what's going on, what our challenges are. It can be a particularly isolating experience to be an electoral area director, but also just to get a better sense of how we're doing in terms of governance and advocacy and all the other things that we need to do. So that's it for me. Thank you.
I agree 100%. When I was sitting back and thinking about the year in review, I wished we'd done more of that. You know, it's not often you wish you'd done more work, but I wish we'd done more of that. I'm going to go ahead and give my report here, and I'm hoping Director White will help me a little bit on this. We both attended that AVIC meeting recently, Northern Ireland Economic Development. Anyways, something like that. Yeah. They're expecting $10 million from the government by year end, which is they consider interim funding. An interesting comment was made that they've asked for 150 million of ongoing funding as an endowment so they don't have to keep going back. And they were suggesting that they should be asking for more now with the focus on economic development, which I'm pretty sure I got that part right. Yeah. And we actually passed quite a few funding requests, and they were all conditional on receiving that money. But it was actually, I enjoyed the meeting. I meant to bring more notes with me, and I left them at home, so I'll bring them next time. I attended the WASAC meeting via Zoom, and I did it by accident because it was on my calendar as a Zoom meeting instead of an in-person. And I tell you, there's nothing like being in the meeting compared to Zoom. I really wish I'd made it there. They had quite a long discussion about the fairness in volume-based billing, but it wasn't about whether they should go to that or not. It was all about the general concept, which I thought was interesting. They talked about stuff that we talk about quite regular, like people that only pay frontage and they're not paying the ongoing maintenance for the pipes in the ground, and how do they pay? The fact that there should be a minimum bill for people that are part-time residents, because the infrastructure's there. It's all the stuff we talked about. And so I found it very, very worthwhile going. I always find it worthwhile going to that meeting, and I am always pleasantly surprised how knowledgeable our volunteers are. It's really heartening. So I now will ask Director Toth, please.
Thank you, Chair. Not a lot to report out this week for the District of Seashelt. Councillor Rowe has been reappointed acting mayor for 2024. And coming up, we've got November 21st and 22nd, our sort of District of Seashelt budget discussions begin. I hesitate to call it round one, but we start our budget November 21st, 22nd. And I just wanted to say thank you to Director McMahon and her work over the last year as vice chair. There's something in there to be said about herding cats, and I think you've done a really good job of it so far. We've worked really well together over the last year. Like, I really do feel like we are pulling together as a team. And I know, like I heard just in the last couple weeks, that there are some things that each director wants to see some changes on, and I'm looking forward to leaning on Director Lee to make some of these changes happen over the next year. So that's my report for now. And maybe a warning shot? I don't know.
I'm looking forward to the discussions. I always enjoy them. I must agree with Director Toth. Director McMahon has been my lifeline so much, and I do expect to lean on all of you directors. You'll be hearing me and talking to me, and Director McMahon, you won't escape either. So thank you very much. So, Director Gavious, please.
Thank you, Chair. Not much to report. No board liaison work in the last couple of weeks, just a lot of community meetings and meeting with constituents and with my fellow directors, and some really good conversations all around. And I'm looking forward for this year and the changes that will come. And I think, yeah, feel like we're a good team. And now it's like, I feel like now we're in a good position to make some great things happen. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
I really agree with that. Thank you. Director Paul.
From the SNG perspective, it's pretty minimal. It's we're starting the process of looking into how to do more water conservation and stuff like that in consultation with residents and everything on that part. So that's just the initial stuff. We've got some budgeting year-end stuff to do for that part. And from the nation thing, there's just a couple community things, like the kids' Halloween party was very good to see. And we done an inaugural Indigenous Veterans Memorial yesterday at the monument, which went very well and stuff like that. It really brings out the difficulties. I have a few people in my family that had served and stuff like that and had went through a lot of stuff. So it was pretty good to see, and it was a good start to that thing. And for right now, that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. We're actually very eager to hear about the nation, so we appreciate that. Director Stamford.
Thank you, Chair. And I would just like to echo the other board members and their comments about the work that the previous chair and vice chair, the work you've done as a baseline for us to move forward was very good. I am looking forward to the upcoming year. I think we have had some really important discussions, especially over the last week as we considered our new slate. And it's nice to have an opportunity to be hopeful about the future. And so I think there's a lot of work that we can get done. From West Howe Sound and the islands, Keats Island, the community there continues to have questions about the Eastbourne Well project, specifically around storage options versus the wells. Also on Keats, it was a bit of a shock to see the pier for Keats Landing had to be closed. It doesn't seem to have the direct impact on the residents currently, but they're really hoping to see that issue be resolved as spring comes into the increase on camp activities at Keats Camp. It's a fairly large camp. On the mainland, the community around Langdale Elementary, they're actively interested in the possible new developments of the lands surrounding the school. Again, that will have an impact on their programming. So I'm hopeful that they are continuing to work with the landholders in that area. On Monday evening, Director White and myself attended the BC Ferries Route 3 FAC meeting. The committee has developed a priority list of goals to present not only to BC Ferries, but as a clear public talking point. Their priorities are primarily expansion and consistency of runs through the shoulder seasons. Right now, the Langdale Horseshoe Bay loses contracted runs when vessels are pulled to accommodate mechanical issues on Route 1 and 2. Maintaining and expanding, especially during the spring and fall, was agreed to be of the highest priority. Also, and augmenting this priority is data that has been collected and compiled by members of the FAC, and that demonstrates a consistent growth of ridership on that particular route. Another priority is equity of service, and that's whether it's accessibility issues or medical support for people with disabilities or requiring assured loading, continuing to support that. Also, equity in terms of consistency of student support programs, especially around after-school travel, and that BC Ferries acknowledge the role that it plays in essential transport in our communities. So that was the highlights from that meeting that I represent the SCRD board on. Thank you.
Thank you. I think everybody's had a chance to report now, so that's good. We have no new business. So we've completed the open portion of the meeting and we'll be now moving in camera with that the public be, I need a motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 90, LK and 2B of the community charter. Can I have a motion to that effect? Yes, Director Toss, seconded by Director Inkster. Any discussions? No? All in favor? Thank you. That's passed. And before we do that, I would ask if there's any questions from the gallery. No? Let's see. Is any questions from attendees, virtual attendees? If you are, please put your hand up. No, there is none? Okay, so then we have no remote people, so let's secure the room and then we'll go. Welcome back to the SCRD regular board meeting of November 9th, 2023. Our last order of business is a motion for adjournment. I see a motion from Director Toth, seconded by Director Bax. Any discussions? Seeing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? No? We are adjourned. Thank you.